Hi, Jen.
Hey, how we doing?
All right, you?
Look at you sunning yourself.
I am, yeah.
I would go out, but a dog's outside our house at the moment. One of the guys just runs his dog up and down.
Yeah.
It's really mental.
Get out. I haven't got out with the dog yet, but where are you, Jen? Are you near fields or anything?
Oh yeah, we're right by. There's a big park by us, and then if you walk literally 5 minutes through an underpass, you can kind of walk through to the connecting villages like Old Basin and.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
It's just the only downside is they're pretty popular, so.
Yeah. Just pick your time, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm debating going for a run at some point, but I think if I'm going to do it, it's going to be before I coach a class, just so that I know no one's around.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying to Sharon Forder that I think I should start going out for a run because I hate running, but it's the fitness it does give you.
It's the best. It is the best way to improve your cardiovascular fitness.
Yeah, because I did it last year. I did the Couch to 5K, and I hated every minute of running. But when I could get round the circuit, the amount more I could do in the gym was amazing.
Yeah, it's I detest it. I really don't like running at all.
No, me neither. But it does give you that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like you said, right? It's everything that you may ever want to get slightly fitter, healthier.
Yeah, definitely.
My knees just don't enjoy it. My knees and my shins and
I got those. Same. I got those shin splint things when I did it.
Yeah, that's pretty common as well. It's not
horrible. Yeah, Kat fixed me up, so I was all right. But yeah, luckily, I mean, my friend, she couldn't go anymore. Her knee went on her. Luckily, my knees were okay. It was just my feet hurt, but
yeah, it's not good. I used to coach. She plays netball with me now. A lady called Mitch, and she used to be a national runner, and she absolutely loves running, and so does her best friend Ria. And Ria's a really cool, Ria had a brain tumor and she's had surgery. She's all cleared from it and everything. But they went on holiday, on a girls' holiday to Mount Blanc, and they went running. They ran around, the pictures I saw, it was just shards of stone and everything, and they're like, yeah, it's the best holiday ever. I was like, oh my god,
that'd be my nightmare.
I know, right? Could you imagine? We went on a girls'
soft ground I like.
Yeah, we went on a girls' holiday and we went running round Mount Blanc. I was just like, nuts. It's crazy.
That is nuts.
Hey, Gemma,
it's not a holiday.
Oh, yeah.
That's not my idea of a holiday, that's for sure. I mean, I can't talk. My last holiday was when I went to Kuwait to compete, but
that's not a holiday.
I did spend a little bit of time at the pool.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Mine's normally all taken by the pool.
Oh, my other half's not a big fan of that. He likes to do stuff.
Yeah, Glenn's like that. We go together and then we just separate. He goes off and does stuff and I just lay about a lot. Yeah.
I'm definitely a book by the pool, bring me a cocktail kind of.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, same. Same.
That is
only with horror.
Glenn likes to go off and look at stuff.
My parents, though, my mum used to be very much like that, and now my mum made captain of the golf club this year. And my mum plans her holidays around golf now. Oh, is there a golf course there? I'm going to go play golf. It's my mum now.
It's healthy, isn't it?
Oh, it's mad.
My mum's the same with bowls. She's president of her bowls club, and literally everything is around that. When it comes to asking her to look after the kids, well, I might have a match on. You know?
No, when we tried to organise dinners with them and stuff, they're like, yeah, we're free. And I'm like, cool, how about Saturday night? Oh, hold on, we're playing golf twice, and then we've got this meeting, and then do you want to just tell me when you've got some time? Because it doesn't sound like you do.
Social life.
Yeah, I think my mum's social life never got so busy since she retired.
Yeah, that's what I said to my mum. I was like, since you started playing golf and you're part-time now, that's it. She loves it. Oh, Karen's made it in again. Look at that.
Dang an alarm. That's what does it.
Yes, Karen, I love it.
So, yeah.
That's all right. We'll give it a minute or two and then we'll get started.
Can I just say for the record that I live in a building site? Okay.
Who's that?
Karen.
It's just that every time I put my video on, all you get is this lovely background. It's just like,
Where are you?
yeah. One day it will be improved.
Yeah, it looks fabulous.
Ah.
Well,
I like the exposed beams look. It's lovely.
Okay.
do you like the installation?
Right.
Yeah,
Not my colour.
It's all about touch and feel, isn't it?
absolutely. We don't have to worry about paint, scratching the paintwork.
Nice.
Good.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. This is ideal for a 4-year-old. Yeah.
I won't share my house. I just live in a tip.
Oh, because this is so much better. Yeah.
I've got a train track going all the way around the floor. So, yeah.
Mark was suggesting like through the keyhole in people's houses, and I was just like, no, I am not. I'm not running around to pick stuff up, and no.
No.
I have 2 positions. One is in the gym, which is relatively tidy because I'm in there, and one is by the corkboard. That's it.
Good.
All right, guys. I think there's only 5 of us anyway, so we'll make a start. So this week we're kind of finishing up everything that I was mentioning yesterday. So we're talking about proteins, which we covered a little bit during the week. So from a protein perspective, some of the good proteins to really eat is the non-processed food, right? So we're talking your fish, your chicken, duck is even allowed. Just try not to be too fatty with duck. But pretty much anything that is non-processed from that perspective. When we get into the world of bacon and sausage, unfortunately, that is processed. That's a no. Which I know people are going to be quite gutted about. So protein from that perspective, we always want to fill the plate up with protein, make sure we've got our right amount of proteins. Is everyone finding that that's kind of becoming the case now?
I like protein.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I briefly went to look for, because we've got to go and do a shop in a bit, and I was like, oh, I'll see what muscle food I've got. And I was like, oh, look at all the chicken and turkey and steak packs. I was well away because they're still delivering. I was like, it's amazing. But so from protein is the first thing we really build our plate up with. Now, if we take away veggies, because I know veggies and fruit are classed as carbs, when we look at building the plate up, best thing to do with carbs is, again, the non-processed route. So things like your beans and your lentils. I think it's a little bit different for beef because obviously being a vegan, beans is predominantly your protein source, but just trying to keep it nice and simple. So do people tend to have their staple of what they eat, the carbs?
Sorry, Jim?
What kind of your staple carbs that you tend to eat?
Rice.
Yeah.
Potato.
Pasta.
Pasta. You know there's over 22 types of potatoes.
Yeah, sweet potatoes are okay, but unless they're roasted, I'm not interested in others, which isn't terribly helpful.
That's fair enough. Okay.
I've just planted a load of potatoes, all different varieties, so that's going to be my staple if it works.
Oh, you're gonna have to give us a little garden update throughout the year later.
Excellent.
Oh God, it's a farce. It's my 3rd year of trying to grow onions, and they fail literally every year.
Oh,
And then I just read something that said they're one of the easiest things to grow. If you can't do onions, you may as well hang up your gloves and stop now. I was like, great, thanks.
True. That's true.
So when we talk about the carbs, pasta's classed as a processed carb, so it tends to be on the no list of foods to eat, even wholemeal pasta. Does anyone ever try and use things like buckwheat, quinoa?
Oh yeah.
It's horrible.
You know,
even homemade, homemade pasta, is that still a processed thing?
Yeah, it's because of what it goes through when you are when you add the egg and the yeast and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily considered whole, should we say.
What about like bagels?
Bagels is a big no. Mark's fully aware of this.
I can't just have my protein and a plate of salad.
Yeah, you
That would be
can.
my go-to.
But the important part with carbs is the body uses that as its primary fuel source. So if you're not actually eating enough carbs, your body's not going to go for the right energy source. Obviously, if you're looking to cut weight, you want the body to burn fat. You don't necessarily want it to burn carbs. The problem is if you're not getting enough carbs, your body by default is going to try and burn fat and protein, which is what you don't want. So while a lot of people kind of say carbs are the devil, it's the type of carb and how much of it you're eating. So fruit is, if you're supplementing with fruit and stuff like that, corn is another good one. So if you eat corn, sweet corn, or corn on the cob, whatever you want to call it, Americans would refer to it as corn, I think. They're all really healthy sources of carbs. They're really good for the body. If you're doing kind of CrossFit high intensity work, carbs are, I think your average CrossFit coach will tell you to eat 40% carbs, just purely because it is the primary energy source, and CrossFit is a lot more intense than a lot of other workouts. So don't ever neglect the carbs that you're eating for that reason. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Also, you're probably going to miss quite a bit of fiber in your diet if you're not having carbs. So the other primary point of carbs is fiber, right? We need fiber to help clear out the intestines. That's its sole purpose. Nothing's absorbed into the body, but it's there to help remove stuff that isn't absorbed into the body out of the body. So carbs are still really, really important for that reason. Other carbs that are kind of all right to eat in small doses are things like couscous. Does anyone eat a lot of couscous?
Have a lot of grains, different sorts of grains. Yeah.
Grains aren't too bad. So if you're looking at kind of like your wild rice grains, your red rice,
like quinoa and couscous, yeah, and then like chickpeas and things. Is that carbs?
They're classed, yeah. So they'll be classed as your beans and lentils kind of thing. But other things to try and kind of cut out a little bit. If you're eating rice, try not to go over the top with white rice. It's not massively processed, but you can get much nicer versions like black. I don't know if anyone's ever had black or red or brown rice. They're all pretty valid. The other carb to be careful of is granola. Does anyone love granola? Because granola granola is really high in sugar. Even if it's
high in price as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes easier to make. I've tried making my own. It's cheaper. But...
Yeah. It's quite time consuming, I found though.
Yeah.
And the other one that is, believe it or not, quite high in carbs to avoid is things like dried fruit. I don't know if anyone eats dried or sweetened fruits. So although you might not be getting your carbs in, you probably are in those kind of different ways, and it's just something to be aware of when you're going carbs. Try and go for the most whole kind of carb you can. I mean, we went through, I think we're all pretty familiar with lists of carbs that are bad: pastries, cakes, Kit Kats, wine gum.
My favourite things.
All the things that
all the good stuff.
Yeah, all the fun stuff, right? They are still carbs, but they are really rich in fat. So does that make sense with carbs a little bit more about just different things to try and bulk up and change? One of the things I find is I have like staple carbs that I eat. I literally will eat potato and sweet potato, and occasionally mix it up with a bit of rice. I'm pretty set on root veg. I love it. I just find it's easier. So potatoes and stuff, they're a great form as well of carbs. And it's just a really good way to bulk out a meal too.
Where do nuts fit?
The nuts are classed as fat.
So not to have.
Well, you can have them, but they are like, be careful of the amount you eat. So don't treat them as a carb. A nut serving size is about the size of your thumb. Not a lot of nuts.
A couple of fists.
The reason
you need to start working on your thumbs and building them up.
Yeah, I did that like the first week, and then
hold it close, it's big.
Stopped.
Nuts are classed as a fat. That's why. So I wouldn't. The nuts thing, so long as you're not kind of eating a 500-gram pack of nuts a day, you'll be all right. But if you can get through quite a lot of big packs of nuts, then be slightly concerned. Like try and cut that back a little bit. They're really calorific, really, really calorific as well. Cool. So when it comes to veggies, as I mentioned before, veggies are classed as a carb to a degree, but obviously they're much more nutritionally dense, so you can get away with eating more. Does anyone like, so some of the other carbs that I class as carbs are things like parsnips, butternut squash.
Yeah.
I love all of those. Oh, there she is. Do you guys tend to use any of those when you're cooking?
A lot of squash, yeah.
Yeah.
Growing that as well.
I usually just forget to cook and grab something.
Because one of the cool things that I like to do is like if I am doing potatoes, so I oven roast pretty much everything. I don't fry a lot of stuff, and I've got an air fryer. If I'm doing like chips, I'll chuck in some carrots as chips as well with the potatoes, season them up. It's just as good. Slightly different taste, obviously. Same with parsnips. Butternut squash is a great one if you like pasta and you want to create like lasagna. Butternut squash is a great way to put that in. It's got quite a similar texture once it's cooked. So butternut squash lasagna is quite nice if you can thin out the slice as well. And I know some supermarkets you can buy butternut squash pre-sliced, but it's always really expensive, I think, compared to butternut squash. But they're all really good ways to do it. And the other one is eggplant or aubergine as well. That's another good one to kind of sub in and out. Again, really, really dense and really, really good for the body.
So it just absorbs the fat though, so hard with the aubergine.
Sorry?
Aubergine absorbs fat so quickly. That's what's hard with cooking it.
Yeah, so I think it's just finding different recipes to cook it. I'm going to see, Rena's probably going to post some more stuff up over the next couple of weeks. I'll see if she's going to post more veggie stuff. Because she's not put loads up for B, but being able to do that as well. And the other main thing when you're kind of like picking through your vegetables is like just make your plate colourful. Like if a veggie's colourful, it's going to be good to eat, right? So you want as much red, purple, green, orange you can get on there. I think that's pretty much all the colours veggies come in. I'm trying to think.
Yellow.
I hope so, yeah. And then you've got kind of like your other staples. So onions, like I cook everything. Everything's got onions in it. I think I've gone through about 12 onions this week already.
I did a tray bake the other night. So we do like just chicken thighs, and then I chopped up all the vegetables. So I did peppers and all sorts. I used harissa on that. Is that okay to do?
Yeah. So the main thing when you're flavoring is just not going over the top, right? So if it's a nut-based oil or something like that, just being careful with the amount you're using. Like I live off chipotle paste in this house. Like we literally live off chipotle paste. And if you can get kind of like, I don't know that you can get it here, but powdered harissa, and then you can kind of do your rubs and your marinades that way. They're much better than kind of getting that jar of sauce and chucking it on top. And it adds a little bit more kick to everything. It's kind of what I try and do. And the thing with food is it's about playing around, right? Finding what flavors work for you. And I think that's the joy of having Rena on the group, because she does all of that all the time.
Yeah, she uses a lot of spices.
Yeah, so what you tend to find is a lot of people won't enjoy vegetables, and I'm a great example. I hate veg. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not great with vegetables.
like if I'm gonna have green beans, which is about the only green thing I eat, sometimes some broccoli, I will cook it, but I will put butter in when I cook it. Terrible, I know. But it's the way that I eat it. When doing any veggies though, the thing I've learned recently is it's about playing around with the spices and the herbs and getting that good taste that you want from it. Without drenching it in oil or butter and everything else. And Rena's recipes are really good for that. She uses a lot of fresh herbs. Yeah. So really, really good to do that. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
I've been thinking about making like a nut roast. Would that mainly be like a fat-based meal then?
I guess it's going to depend what you put in it, B, from your point of view, because for you it's going to be, I'd need to have a look. Let me have a little nosy for that one on what that would mean.
I would find like a recipe. Can I send it to you?
Yeah, fire it across and we'll have a little look at kind of the breakdown of it and what that'll be. I think the main thing to remember is and I do this before I cook, when you get all the ingredients out for it, kind of weigh up where your carbs are, where your fats are and everything else and your protein source. And that'll give you a good idea of the ratio that it will roughly be. Obviously, once stuff's cooked, it processes slightly, but just looking at it from a whole foods perspective also helps build that kind of what's in what I'm baking or cooking. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Anyone got any questions about veggies, struggling to get their veggies, or carbs, like just how to handle carbs and different carbs?
Just not interested in carbs, but sweet potato I'll do.
Yeah, I would play around with it. Like sweet potato is a good one. It's a carb. It's a good carb.
So root vegetables are okay.
Yeah, so I would stick with those. I love a root veggie. I've got a couple of different recipes for like creating, it's a little bit fatty, but kind of like potato gratins with carrot in there and parsnip and some sweet potato and a bit of everything, just mixing it up a little bit. There's tons of different ways just to kind of jazz it up and bring it to your own tasting. I like quite creamy, rich foods, so I always end up putting like creme fraiche or cream and everything else in it, which obviously isn't great. But finding the right flavorings is the biggest thing. And it's hard to do as well, right? I'm pretty sure on the last challenge, that's kind of like how they, before this one, the sheet was kind of like, just have your meat, this, here's the herbs and spices you can use, and that was it. Play around with it. Like, don't feel like you can't put more fat in on one meal than another one or anything like that. Like, just be sensible about it, right? It's about overall consistency. So if one meal's got higher fat in it, that's fine. Just make sure your next meal's lower in fat, that kind of stuff, right? Just balance it out. It's just about balancing daily. Does that make sense?
Quinoa would be a source of protein for me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it would. So what we're going to do tomorrow, we're going to go...
Making us lunch.
I was just thinking that. Bee's making me quite hungry right now.
You making our lunch?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like every time Bee's on the screen, we get a new in-depth look into Bee's life. It's great.
I'm making
a reality TV show. So what we're going to cover off tomorrow will be a little bit more about fats, because I know they are extremely confusing. Like, if you cook with fat, does that class as your fat count and all sorts? So we're going to cover off fats tomorrow. Good fats, bad fats. I think we're all pretty familiar with what bad fats are, but we'll cover that off. And then on Friday, we're just going to cover off a final part on the nutritional bit, all of it together: protein, carbs, veggies. Any questions you guys have got, see how everyone's getting on. And that's going to prep us into next week for our gut health. Okay?
Oh, excellent.
I can't attend on Friday.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll video it for you.
Thank you.
We'll see what Bee's up to on Friday. Bee's cooking coming down.
Cook along with me.
I can start just like a tutorial.
But yeah, so if any of you guys got any questions, how's everyone finding their routines this week?
Better this week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm back to school. I'm all over the place.
This is going to be a tough first week for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. See how we feel on the weekend. Maybe get an extra nap in.
I was gonna do the 6:30 class this morning, but I woke up at 7 and I was like, well, that's not happening.
We did miss you on it, Bee.
Sorry.
We did miss you on it, Bee.
Yeah.
And
I was
I
really
need to
disappointed in myself.
I can't get up for that. That's so early.
But I managed to do the body proof at 9.
That's good.
And I was the demo.
Nice. Love it.
Demo. You were a good demo.
Cool.
With the Runward, how do we actually log that? I've seen quite a few questions asking it, and I can see it.
It's just for you to do, like, you can book onto it and log it in Wadboard. I don't know if Mark's tracked it as that, or just keep a note of it. It's more the running what it's, I think if they come back around again, I don't know how Mark's programmed it, but it's more based around time, so how far you can get in a certain time, and then how long something takes you to do. Just take a note of it and write it down, and I'll see what Mark's planning, because I think it's only been 2-3 weeks of it at the moment, so it's not going to be any time to retest yet.
It's always the Strava group as well that you can
going out for a run though.
Oh, what
Yeah.
is the Strava group?
It's the running app. I wouldn't know because I don't run.
No, I've got Strava, but I was.
There's a link on Facebook. I'll dig it out and I'll send it on the WhatsApp group.
Oh, yeah,
you can join that and you'll see what people are doing and their runs and all the crazy.
It's an open group, so you might be able to search for it on Strava. It's
there
just
you go.
into training, I think.
I've had a look at into training, and apart from some rates, it doesn't come up with anything. Yeah.
Okay, I'll send you the link for it.
Excellent, thank you. And also, you said about there's now a 12 o'clock train session. Did you manage to get anywhere with seeing whether we could bump that to 12:30?
Yeah, so I've got a call with Mark at 2 o'clock. So we're going to have it's our team catch up. So we'll have a little chat. It's not just train, so it changes every day. But there's another session. But I'll have a chat with him to see whether or not we can change it to 12:30.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? No? Oh, wow. I will let you guys go. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the garden, Sandra. Enjoy work, Gemma.
Thanks. Cheers. See ya.
Bye-bye.